I have a lot of hope for you that person will show up for you. There will be some kind of energetic balance that has to come into play somehow. So never lose hope. Today was a perfect example of somebody that was convinced they had no other choice, and somebody showed up at the right moment and gave them crumbs, gave him very little, and it was enough to keep him going, to wake up and fight through another day. Sometimes it just takes that little bit to wake somebody up just enough to not make that bad decision that potentially you can never come back from. And yeah, I mean, it can save a life. It's funny how when situations fall on your lap and you're the only one to help, it's very fulfilling, but it's also very draining. That is where I'm at right now. There's somebody that I work with that is going through a very hard time. He, don't need all the details, but he's got kids that he misses, I'll say that. And I don't know what caused that problem, but he's got issues of his own, clearly. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but he's going through a lot of stuff. Last week, I had to, he couldn't work a certain day because he was drinking the night before, and you think you're good, and then you actually get to work and you're like, I should not have come here. So he bowed out of going to work, or going out to work for the day. But he ended up having quite a day. Let's just say that he created somewhat of a scene, and it quickly became a situation, an emergency situation, where if he didn't get a grip on himself, he was putting other people in danger, putting kids in danger, and definitely putting himself in danger, to the point of, that would have been his last day breathing, if you catch my drift. He had things on him that were dangerous, and when you're in that kind of headspace, all it takes is a moment, one bad decision in a moment where you're feeling at your worst, where you can't undo that decision. I hope you all understand what I'm getting at. It was an emergency. I was coordinating with my other coworker, who is his brother, and his brother's wife, to get, what is that called? The wellness check by the police on him, because he needed it. And it quickly escalated into, this is beyond a wellness check. He needs to be, contained, and, he became a danger to himself and other people very quickly. And luckily the cops found him, and they put him away for a short period of time, and he ended up being released because nothing extreme was done on his part, luckily, and nobody was going to press charges of any sort. So very grateful that nothing bad happened. That was last week. He's shown up to work every day, and he's been doing awesome. I've been checking in with him, making sure he's stable and, all that. I'm giving him as much energy, time, and attention that I'm able to give, because as we all know, you can't be everything to somebody. People need to take care of themselves and, not be codependent. I want to help people, but I also don't want to jeopardize, maybe not jeopardize, I want it to be healthy. If you become that everything for somebody, it's very unhealthy for the other person and for yourself. You have to have boundaries. When you're helping people, because you don't want to help others at the expense of your own fill in the blank, whatever it is. Giving all your time to people, all your money to people, all your energy. Yeah. So, anyways, I just got off the phone with him. Tonight is Friday, so we have the weekend off, and he called me and told me he was sitting down with a bottle, and right away I was like, okay, thank you for calling me. What can we do to not do that, because we know it's not good for you, and we talked through the logic of it, and I understand that it can be hard. The conversation divulged tangentially, but I told him about, I gave him a quote from a book like yesterday, I think, and he was kind of floored by it. It was exactly what he needed to hear in the moment. And so, of course, when I got home, the first thing I did was grab that book and I put it with my work stuff to make sure that I could give him this book tomorrow to read. So, what I'm trying to do at the moment is basically, after being on the phone with him for about an hour, I was able for him to agree that if he could get his hands on that book, he would then read the book tonight instead of opening that bottle that he was holding the whole time we were talking. That was the first agreement I had. It was like, I will talk to you, I will help you, as long as you don't open the bottle. Okay, you agree? Great, let's talk, So I got him to not drink. The only problem is the book that I gave him, he accidentally left in our coworker's car because said coworker drives him home every day. So right now, we are in the process of, convincing him to drop the book off to him so he can read instead of drink. So that's amazing. That's generally the full scope of the situation. The main reason why I want to talk about it, because it's been on my mind all week, about being in those kind of situations, the effort that I put in to helping him was very minimal. I mean, I'm saying this to you because we all hold the key for other people. You know, we're all fighting our own battles in our own ways, and the person next to you probably has a totally different situation going on, and a lot of the times the two don't intersect, which means that, you know, if you're struggling in a certain way, someone else can easily pull you out of it. It didn't take a lot of effort on my part to do that, and it meant the absolute world to this guy. I mean, there's so many people out there that have nobody to turn to, no family, no friends. It's sad. And to be able to help somebody on that level, and to know that it takes very little effort to do that, to change somebody, even if it's brief, you know, it's such a beautiful thing. And people have done that for me as well. Sometimes all it takes is someone says something a certain way, or a single sentence. You know, you say something to somebody at the exact time that they need to hear it, and it can change somebody's life. Ultimately, the choice always falls on the other person. It's the other person that has to choose to not drink, or to not get angry, or whatever the issue is for them. And as the person helping the other, you have to have a balanced perspective on that fact. Going back to the idea of you can't be everything to somebody. At a certain point, you end and the other person begins. I know that this person could just say forget it and crack the bottle, and he's off to the races for the night. I don't want him to do that, but I also have enough, I don't know. You have to respect the choices other people make, even if it isn't the right choice to make. And that gives you kind of like a buffer between you and the other person, that keeps it from being codependent, or keeps you from feeling like you're responsible for other people. It's a necessary boundary when you're dealing with others and their issues. I really don't feel like I'm saying that as best that I can. I'm kind of winging this. It's kind of what I do. There's a way to act with compassion toward others, but also not lose yourself in those moments. I mean, you're just going to feel guilty or something. It's not going to make you feel good if you hold all the weight of someone else on your shoulders. You know, it goes back to the other person's going to make whatever choice they're going to make. I will meet you halfway, and I will give you all the time, effort, energy that I can to help you. And that's kind of how we left the conversation. Was it got to a point where it was starting to feel unbalanced. You know, he was talking a mile a minute. He wasn't letting me talk. So we ended the conversation on a good note, but I ended with telling him, I think I actually said, like, nobody is going to be your everything. And I know you're a good person, and I've had my issues and other people have helped me. So I will do everything I can to have your back, but I told him I hope there's not one day where you need me and I'm unavailable. And he understood what I was getting at. But I went on to kind of explain, you know, that I have my own life. I'm very busy in my own ways, and there's quite a few other people that I have on my radar, so to speak, people that I check in with to make sure that they're still solid. It's just inherently feels like it's what I'm here to do, or one of the things that I'm here to do. It's not something I try to do, it just comes naturally, but over the years of doing it and failing at it many times, you learn to, I don't want to say put yourself first, but you learn to do it in a way that is mutually healthy for both people. There's a way to communicate healthy boundaries with another person that can be non-threatening and can be done in a way that doesn't trigger another person's insecurities about being needy, which spirals into, you know, I'm useless and whatever. I wish I could put that skill into words, but I just cannot do it. But I will say, if you are the kind of person that finds yourself in these situations with other people, similar to me, where you feel like it's natural and it feels like it's part of what you're here to do, to lift each other up, you know, every time that next person comes, try to refine your skills of doing it. Being more careful with your choice of words, the pace that you talk to somebody. If they need to, you know, calm down, slow the rhythm down a little bit. There's all sorts of different layers to communicating and helping others that can be done in a way, like I said before, that is mutually beneficial. Not to say that I'm somehow benefiting from helping somebody else. It should be a selfless act for anyone listening. It should be completely selfless. You shouldn't be doing it for clout or to whatever. Now that person owes you something or something like that. That is just bad karma, in my opinion. But if you are called to be that kind of person, and you know it's coming from a pure place, a selfless place, keep refining your skills. I don't know what to call it. Yeah, keep refining your skills, and the more you do, the more quickly and easily you will be able to help others, and the more safe and secure you will feel that your boundaries aren't being crossed helping somebody else. And I was just talking about this too, like these little nudges you get. You know, if you sense that something's off with somebody, that they might need something and they don't know how to ask for it, like when you get those intuitive nudges, over time, learn to trust those nudges, and they can be very subtle, but the more you do it, the more you pick up on it. It's kind of a skill that you learn. You learn to get better at it over time, and I mean, it kind of brings me back to the story. There's something I left out of this, but I had mentioned the morning he came into work and realized he couldn't work, so he went home for the day. I knew nothing about his life situations that were going on at that time of his life. I knew nothing. But a few hours into that day, I had a very small nudge, like, I wonder how... I should blank that out. I just said his name. You know, how's he doing? Is he passed out? Is he just hungover? Is he feeling like shit? You know, I wonder what he's going through, you know? And I had the thought, maybe I should throw him a text, you know? Make sure he's okay. You good, man? Because you've never done this before, you know? I had the nudge. So I called his brother who was working, and it was a work-related phone call, but when we were done, I said, "Hey, have you talked to your brother, man? Is he okay?" And it was kind of I'm not really sure. He's going through all this stuff, and he told me all the stuff he's going through, and I was like, "Damn, wow, that's a lot, you know. It's a lot for anybody to deal with." So I don't blame him for kind of losing it. So after I got off the phone with him, I told him, okay, I'm going to call your brother right now. So I called him at the exact moment that he was in the midst of what I'll call this emergency situation that was unraveling. I called him at the exact moment that he needed a call. And again, I had no idea that he was going through all this stuff. He didn't answer, but we convinced him through calling other people that he was near, please just call Eric back. Just stop what you're doing. Don't think about it. Just call him. And he did. And he ended up hanging the phone up on me. And I was really worried that that was the last time I'd ever hear his voice. You know, in that moment, there was no way to know if he was about to make a terrible mistake or if that call was enough hope to get him by. My point of saying that is, these little nudges we get, if you're this kind of person out there, I mean, I'm not perfect. I get these nudges all the time, and I don't act on all of them, you know? And I've learned over the years to really feel into how that nudge feels in my body, intuitively, you know, in your gut instinct. And you learn to pick up on the difference between a nudge that's kind of more like you're daydreaming about stuff, thinking about someone or whatever. The difference between that and, oh no, I'm being called to do this. Something is, channeling through me to give me some kind of alert that you are needed. You get better at knowing what nudges to act on and which ones don't have much substance to them. And yeah, I mean, it can save a life. And in that case, in the worst case scenario, it saved many people's lives, because when people make those life-changing, potentially life-ending choices, I mean, you're ruining other people's lives as well. There's other people that will never fully get over that choice that you make. So yeah, I mean, as small as some of these nudges might feel, I think it's beneficial to get in touch with yourself so that you can feel them, because I don't think it's inherent. I think everyone can learn that skill, but some people are more called to it than others, and to trust it. Because again, like, what I did was not, I put everything into it, but it did not require a lot of effort or energy. To pick up my phone and call him was not a lot of work on my part. I mean, you give everything you can to people that you care about, or to people you know are struggling, and you can sense that they want to do better. They want to overcome whatever it is. They just can't. They just need that little push. Sometimes it just takes that little bit to wake somebody up just enough to not make that bad decision that potentially you can never come back from. And again, it takes very little effort to meet that person halfway. As serious as this all sounds, it leaves you feeling somewhat drained at times, but also I don't want to say good. I don't feel good right now, but it gives you a sense that you are in alignment with who you are, and you are where you're supposed to be at the exact moment that you're supposed to be there. And it brings a deeper purpose into your life, which, who's not going to want that? I guess I'll just end with a disclaimer that if any of you are that other person that feels stuck, like you can't get out, it also doesn't take much effort on your side to say something to somebody, call someone, call one of the many hotlines that are available. It's a Google search away. Today was a perfect example of somebody that was convinced they had no other choice, and somebody showed up at the right moment and gave them crumbs, gave him very little, and it was enough to keep him going, to wake up and fight through another day. But he was also receptive. You know, if somebody does try to help you and you legitimately need it, be receptive to it. However you're feeling, it's just how you feel. You can't control how you feel. That's why I'm just a brutally honest person, because to be vulnerable in that way, it's not like you chose to feel a certain way. Like, just get it out, you know? That little bit of effort can trigger the right person at the right time to show up. And I'm not making any promises. You know, a lot of people are feeling quite alone out there, but if you put in that, if you make that choice and you're coming from that positive place, you're putting that if you're coming from a place where you really want to not feel this way or not be dealing with this thing, I have a lot of hope for you that person will show up for you. There will be some kind of energetic balance that has to come into play somehow. So never lose hope, you know? I mean, I could go on forever and ever. I don't know how long this video is, but I have a lot to say on this subject and down many different avenues, but I don't know. I guess I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, you know, take care of yourself, be gentle with yourself, and if you're on the other end of it, keep listening to those nudges, you know. One day that person you help could get that upward momentum enough to overcome their issues and then be that light for other people. And to me, that's just amazing that we can do that as a collective. I will leave it at that. Be gentle with yourself. Take care. I haven't told anybody that I know in my normal day-to-day life about filming and making videos. So if he stumbles across it, so be it.